And I can see the chat actually, so hopefully if you want to add anything to the chat, I'll do my best to answer it as we go along, but it might be worth leaving any questions until the end. But if there's anything really pressing, I'll do my best to answer those as I go along. So I'll work through the mentor induction. The first thing to say is welcome. It's really good to see you all, and thank you for joining us. We'll share the recording onto the partnership website as we, within a few days, hopefully. But so in terms of the agenda today, we're going to think about just welcoming any updates. We'll think about ways of working, as you can see there, thinking about roles and responsibilities. That's ours and mentors and associate teachers, and run through some of the detail alongside that. We'll think about mentoring of our associate teachers. And, I think I need to say at this point, thank you for, mentoring our associate teachers. No doubt you've had emails, or if you haven't yet, you will be having emails in terms of the associate teachers that you are supporting. And, really many thanks to you and your schools for supporting our associate teachers. We really appreciate it. We're going to think about the documentation, think about some of the CPD for mentors, and a little, very briefly, about the market review for 2024. Okay, so as I said, you would normally be expecting to see Anne. Anne, unfortunately, can't be with us today, but I'm Paul Purser. I'm the college academic lead for primary. We've had a restructure at university. My title previously was head of departments for primary, but now the role is called the college academic lead primary. So you'll be working with a lot of us over the year. You've probably met previously the PGCE course team, headed up by Alison Pemberton Smith, who's the course lead, and her deputies, Damienne Clark and Rachel Gillette. Or you may have worked with the BA primary course team, who is headed up by Kate Glanville as course lead, and deputy Dominique Simpson, who's new in post as deputy, but you may have worked with previously. You'll have seen probably emails from all of those people. But I think, we're looking forward to working with you, and thanks again for your work in terms of agreeing to support our associate teachers. It's really welcome, and we do want to work in partnership with you. That's really important. And if you're new to mentoring, welcome. A welcome to you, and a special welcome, I guess, in terms of coming to this briefing and the work that you'll be doing with us over the coming year and hopefully years. Hopefully find this useful, this session. As I say, we will upload the slides and the recording to the partnership website shortly. So if we think about updates, first of all, I'm hoping that's moving. The slide is moving on. If somebody could just put me a message in the chat bar to just let me know that the slides are moving on, that'd be perfect. We've welcomed you, and I think, yes, thank you, appreciate it, thank you. That's good. I always worry that whether they were moving for me, but not for everybody else. So, thank you. And in terms of updates, I mean, I've said it already, really, we do value your support, and we want to work in partnership with you, and ultimately support our associate teachers coming into the profession. And we pride ourselves that we're a university for the region, and we want to support schools within our region and beyond for the future, I guess. We want to make sure that we celebrate the successes that our associate teachers have, and we want to make sure that we have good communication. We're very mindful in terms of ensuring that we do communicate with you. Yes, there are many demands on you and schools and mentors, but our university tutors are subject experts. They're professionals that want to work with you and have that opportunity to work with your schools and support you and support our associate teachers. We want you to feel supported and feel confident about our processes. We've listened to you in terms of, we have a mentor working group, we have a strategic partnership committee. We've listened to your feedback, well, certainly over the last year, and we've made changes to our documentation and our processes in being very much mindful of workload, your workload, but also our associate teachers' workload. And we've tried to reduce that in terms of some of our key documentation. We'll talk about that later. We've certainly streamlined some of the booklets that our associate teachers use. Some of that was in response to feedback from yourselves, but also you'll probably be aware that we had Ofsted with us not too long ago, and in response to some of their points, we've reduced some of the documentation, which will help with everybody's workload, hopefully. We've certainly tried to reduce some of the repetition that our associate teachers had in some of their booklets. So we've also set out, hopefully, a manageable CPD program for mentors, and we'll talk about that with you in a second, but we'll have a look at what that might look like for you, and you'll be contacted with the dates and the details of that in due course. But all of the things that we talk about are always on our partnership website, so please go there as a sort of a one-stop shop, if you like, and we'll talk about that as we go through. One thing to note is that I kind of mentioned it in terms of my role. The university's had a restructure, so now we're the College of Education and Social Work, and that change went across the whole university. So you'll see that appearing on our documentation. I mentioned also Ofsted. We want to celebrate the Ofsted that we had in terms of partnership. Partnership came out very, very strongly in terms of the work that our mentors do, the work that you've done with our associate teachers to support them and develop our associate teachers and their understanding of the curriculum and their understanding of their targets. We'll pick up that though as we go through. Although things are business as usual this year, we have got the market review and preparing for things for 2024, which we'll introduce a little later on. Okay, so the partnership website that we do see as our sort of one-stop shop for support. You talked about it very positively in terms of Ofsted, that you were able to access the materials, the mentor training, all the documentation, and we will continue that obviously this year. So if you're not sure of a document that you want, or you think that I don't know, it might be buried in the massive emails, go there. Everything will be there for you, including the slides from today. So everything's there in terms of documentation, but also mentor support. So please use that link. Everything will be there for you. So in terms of the way we work, it's really important that we use our BCU ITE curriculum. That for BA, PGCE is uploaded to the mentor website. There will be mentor briefings, year group colleagues. So some of our lecturers will lead those to support you with the logistics of placements. They will lead those in the coming weeks. So, you have a further understanding of what that placement may look like, whether that's for a BA3 or a PGC1. Year group colleagues and course teams will lead those, but also, again, they'll be uploaded to our partnership website alongside the recording of the briefing, but also any documentation. I think it's important to say that you will have a university tutor allocated to you, and we want that one-to-one communication from our university tutors with you to support you if there's anything that you need please ask your university tutor. You know, they will make contact with you. If you don't, some of you will know them already because you'll have an existing relationship in terms of your university tutor. But if there's anything you need, please ask them. They are really pivotal to our success and the success of our university tutors. And I say, the relationships that they've developed with you over time is strengthening and is strong, obviously. There is a mentor CPD calendar, which we'll highlight for you in terms of the courses and the support available for you. Again, that will go onto our partnership website. So I guess the thing, you know, I keep reiterating really, is go to our partnership website if you need anything, any documentation, any mentor support will be there for you. And I like to think of it as a sort of a one-stop shop really for anything that you need. So we're going to run through some of the roles and responsibilities in terms of our associate teachers, the responsibilities and their role equally with mentors. A new term, ITE mentor, that is the same thing, but it's got a new name, and I'll explain why that is in a minute, and all of these different roles. So we'll take each one pretty much in turn. So our associate teachers, they all have to sign a code of conduct right at the start of their course or at the start of each year of their course. They have to sign a code of conduct. So be assured of that. It's all about their fitness to teach, their professionalism, that they're taking into account child protection, safeguarding. It talks about their responsibilities around attendance and dress code, their use of IT, the internet, their telephone usage, a whole host of different things. But they have to sign up to that in terms of their professionalism and their work on the course, and they'll do that every year, whether they're new to the, as a PGCE or a first year BA, or whether they're a second year or a third year, they have to sign up to that. They have a shared with schools folder. So all of our associate teachers have a OneDrive folder which contains all of their documentation. It has things like their assignments, it has things like their pen portrait or their PDT booklets, things that you might not want to access or won't access. But they also have a shared with schools folder, which we ask them to share with you. And within that, they have things like their subject-specific development journal. And that will be important to you because it will help you help them to build on their experiences that they've had. So if you like, it has the learn how-to statements, it has the curriculum of all subjects, and they're asked to bring that to weekly mentor meetings so that they can discuss the curriculum, they can discuss that with you as mentors, and in terms of how they're going to build on that through their experiences in school. They will be asked to bring that. They'll have weekly mentor meetings with you where you will set, targets, etc. And we'll go through that shortly as well. And I think we're very mindful of our associate teachers' well-being. And, again, some of the documentation we've reduced to ensure that, or try to ensure that. But I think well-being for us is a priority. And there are various support networks within the university that can support our associate teachers. So again, that conversation between mentors, university tutors and associate teachers, and accessing the university-based support, I think, all goes a long way to supporting our associate teachers' well-being. For mentors, we want mentors obviously to work really, really closely with our university tutors and hub leads, because you are pivotal to supporting our associate teachers' professional development. We've talked about, them bringing their subject-specific development journal or their targets to you, but obviously, your support is pivotal to their success. And hopefully, in terms of working with the university tutor, you will set targets and feedback, including subject-specific targets. That was very much a thing that came out from our Ofsted. And if you've worked as a mentor with us before, you'll know that we have things like subject-specific prompts to support mentors in target setting, all again on our partnership website. You'll use the BCU tracker within the progress journal to track our associate teachers' progress. And again, I would say that needs to be updated on regularly, because obviously that's then used at review and progress meetings. And that's where we, if you like, look at the progress associate teachers making. Are they on track to be successful? Or if not, do we need to put interventions in place, like the RIP process that we'll talk about a little bit later on. But I think, it's very much about developing and maintaining good working relationships with associate teachers, but also university tutors, because we all work together to ensure their success, I guess, and have our associate teachers in the profession moving forward, to support all of our schools. So, but in terms of mentors, we would say that mentors would complete one joint observation per placement with a university tutor. Now, that might coincide with the visit of the university tutor for the review meeting or the progress meeting. I mean, that's very much a discussion between mentors and their university tutor, what's most convenient, but we would say there would be one joint observation per placement. University tutors are expected to be part of the review and progress meeting during this school-based training. So when you're conducting the review and progress meeting, the university tutor will be part of that to support. We would also ask you to access the mentor induction. Now, that might be a live meeting with someone like Anne, or it might be access the recording of that. And also to access one of the CPDs and the school briefing. Again, that might be a live meeting with a year group lead or Anne with the CPD, or it could be a recording of that. So, the choice is yours really in terms of your commitments and convenience, I guess. But we would ask you to access those, but particularly be aware of this, one joint observation per placement and the conversations with the university tutor around that and finding a mutually convenient time to do that. Now, I mentioned, so mentors, as you remember, everyone is a mentor in school, be that the class teacher or the lead mentor, as we've called them in the past. So everyone's a mentor. Now, in the past, we had lead mentors. Now, we've changed the name to ITE mentors, simply because in 2024, we will have to have something called lead mentors, and we didn't want to confuse matters now and then in a year's time have to change a name in terms of what that meant for a lead mentor. But a little bit of that later on. But lead mentors, or ITE mentors as they're now called, are the person who's responsible for overseeing the placements. So it might be that in the school there's an ITE mentor and other mentors. It might, you'll know your circumstances, you'll know your schools as to how that works. But the person that oversees all of the placements, if you like, is we now call the ITE mentor. So obviously they have a quality assurance role in some respects, in that they're ensuring that our associate teachers are being supported within the school. They again have a responsibility in terms of awareness of associate teacher well-being and flagging that up to UTs. It might be to ensure that some university access to wellbeing support is there. And also to work with hub leads. If you were a mentor last year, you may have attended some of the hub lead meetings, or been contacted by hub leads. ITE mentors will be part of that, and also an opportunity to network with other ITE mentors. Now, that might be through the mentor working group, or it might be through some of the CPD, or it might be through the BCU hub leads. They will arrange meetings or drop-ins where people can have time to get together and share good practice and discuss placements. And it's from those meetings where we have made some of the changes around documentation and support in terms of workload for both mentors and associate teachers. So I mentioned the BCU hubs. Everyone will be assigned to a regional hub. They're done regionally, and the idea is to try to establish communication between different mentors, ITE mentors. That was a new initiative that we started last year, and it's still developing. But we felt it was a good initiative, and it was in its early stages, shall we say, last year. But it is something that we want to develop to enable communication between mentors, but also have an eye on quality assurance, so to ensure that all systems are well understood and all the processes are well understood, and an opportunity to sort of quality assure and ask any questions to ensure equity, I guess, and to ensure a common understanding of the systems and processes that we have to support our associate teachers, but also to support our mentors. It's important, the mentors may be in need of support, may be needing some questions answering. So our hub leads will hopefully be part of that. University tutors, it says there, it's still highlighted in yellow, will still be working with schools and mentors, on an individual basis, really, to support associate teachers and their placements and support mentors as well. But I think the BCU hubs, as I said, are a relatively new addition, but the hope is that they will support mentors too. So it's just, if you like, another layer of support that we wanted to put in place. So the hub leads, the names of them are on the partnership website, and a little bit of information about hubs as well, but they'll be in contact with you by the end of October. And the hope is that we can develop a lead mentor community of practice, and that's really looking forward to 2024, because we want to involve lead mentors more to support associate teachers, but also be part of planning and if you like, be part of ensuring that the work that we're doing is appropriate for schools and the region, if you like. So mentors will be, ITU mentors will be contacted by the end of October. There are some dates there for hub meetings, and you can see that they're in a period of time. So they're between those dates. Hub leads will contact on a regional basis in terms of when they are. They are optional, but we're hoping that people will be able to attend those. So there's the hubs. Okay, so university tutors, what you know, unless you're new to the mentoring, you'll have worked with university tutors before. And I think the thing that we say to our associate teachers, and we would say to all mentors, they are the first line of contact for support. If you need anything, contact your university tutor. They'll be able to advise on things related to the documentation or the processes or associate teacher support, anything you need really, they'll be the first point of contact. As we mentioned, they will be part of the review and progress meetings. So they will come and, face to face with yourselves as mentors and associate teachers at review and progress meetings. So if you like, there's a professional discussion going on, and that's when the associate teacher will also be looking at not just their progress, but they'll be thinking about their critical incidents, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. As we mentioned earlier, university tutors are part of that joint observation with the mentor. Obviously, a discussion needs to be had in terms of a mutually convenient time for that. As I said earlier, it might be on the same day as a review or a progress, probably more a review meeting rather than a progress meeting, but obviously a discussion to enable a mutually convenient time, will be had, so that university tutors can support mentors and can support associate teachers. But I think we've said it over and over again, it's really important to ensure that mentors are clear about our policies and procedures. And if you have any questions at all, please ask your university tutor, and they should be able to answer them. If they can't for any reason, then obviously course teams or myself would be able to do that. But university tutors should be fine in terms of answering questions for you. Okay, so we're mindful that we want to support you as mentors and our associate teachers as a result of that. So again, on our partnership website, we have got school-based training guidance. If it's not there yet, it will be certainly in time for the associate teachers that you're working with for their blocks and when they're going into school for school-based training in terms of prelim visits. So there is school-based training guidance. There's lesson observation pro forma there for the lesson observations that you do. They also are usually the associate teachers folder and their progress journals as well, but all of the documentation's there. There's alongside those, there are subject specific prompts for supporting target setting. There's lesson planning pro forma that our associate teachers will have been introduced to by their professional studies lectures, but also through their subjects as well. So we do give them a lesson planning pro forma to use to support them initially. It might be that they get to their final placement. If I'm thinking of a PG, it might be in their final placement that they're not using that pro forma because they're more confident. But we decided a year ago now to have a lesson planning pro forma. If you've had associate teachers over a number of years, you'll know that we didn't have a BCU planning pro forma previously, but we felt to support our associate teachers, we would develop one last year, and so that's available for them to use and for you to see, if you like. Rapid improvement targets. If for some reason an associate teacher isn't making progress or isn't engaging, the rapid improvement target form is there on the partnership website for you to use. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a short while. Equally, there's the critical incident guidance. So when our associate teachers are completing a critical incident ready for the review meeting or the progress meeting, the guidance around that is also on the partnership website. So lots of things available there to hopefully support you. But as I keep saying, don't go to them cold, if you like. By all means, talk them through with university tutors. That's what university tutors are there for, to support you, and can take you through all of that documentation if you so desire. I mean, in terms of mentoring, I guess your role will be very much lesson observation and feedback and target setting. And to support you, as I said, we have got prompts. I think we want that sort of honest an open discussion. So at weekly meetings, there is an open and honest discussion. We do want, associate teachers to reflect on their skills and for you to reflect on with them and to monitor their progress and be underlining in their progress journals where they are. Now, in a weekly meeting, associate teachers will be recording discussions as they happen with you And I think we'll have a look at the slide in a minute in terms of what that meeting might look like. And we were aware that schools work differently, but I think, you know, how the weekly meeting runs, we'll give some guidance with that. But, you know, it's finding, I guess, as a mentor, an appropriate time in the week to do that. And that will be obviously in terms of a conversation between you and your associate teacher when that happens. But it's important that we do have regular conversations, or the associate teachers have regular conversations with yourselves. And it's at those weekly meetings where, you know, we will have target setting, and associate teachers will reflect on that, and in the following week look at their targets that were set and how they've addressed those, and where things have moved forward or may need some additional support. And obviously you'll discuss the coming week and the planning that's in place for that coming week, or is needing to be done by the associate teacher for that coming week. So that's a brief overview really of what mentoring will look like in any given week, I guess. Now, in terms of lesson observations, we would say to try and spread them evenly across the placement. You know, give clear feedback, what's been successful, what needs to be worked on, just as you would expect really. But try to include, I guess make sure, we would say, to include a subject specific target. We have put some subject specific prompts on the partnership website to support people with that. But what do you expect our associate teacher to have improved on the next time? So when you're having that next discussion, that next weekly meeting, what are the expectations? Are they clear what targets that they need to address? Do they know how to achieve them? I guess is important too. The feedback lesson observation form will help to guide people in setting targets. Please try and do that in a timely manner. We would say written feedback must be really given no later than 24 hours after the observation. Obviously, sometimes things happen in school, but you know, please try to give some feedback in a timely manner so that the associate teacher can be acting on that as soon as possible. I mean, I won't read through this slide for you, but it's there. Many common sense things, I guess, but you'll be giving lots and lots of verbal feedback. You know, yes, there'll be formal lesson observations, but class teachers and mentors will be giving feedback all of the time, you know, all day, every day, really, in a lot of respects. So there are just some prompts, some support that may be useful for you in terms of some of the feedback that you might give to our associate teacher. You know, please have a look at that in terms of the feedback. And CPD 1 for mentors and CPD 2 will have a focus on giving effective feedback and target setting, again to support mentors with that. So as we said, through the mentor training, please access that CPD as well. But we put those prompts in as a support measure, really, I guess, to support mentors. Sometimes you may have associate teachers that are struggling a little bit. Hopefully everything will go well, but sometimes for whatever reason, you might have an associate teacher that's struggling a little bit. So we've put some things here that might help in terms of strategies that you could use. So, you know, let's let the associate teachers see some good practice, share good practice with them. It might be that they go and observe good practice of other colleagues and talk that through afterwards. It might be that they need a reduced timetable, but again, in discussion with the university tutor and the associate teacher, what's most appropriate if an AT is really, really struggling. It might be that they do some group teaching or team teaching, but I think, you know, above all, alert your university tutor if there's, you know, if an AT, an associate teacher is really, really struggling, alert your university tutor, and they can support in terms of additional meetings, additional observations may be needed, or, but talk to them and they will support you and ultimately the associate teacher. I think if you have got an AT who's struggling, be open and honest with them. Sometimes associate teachers will say, oh, I didn't know, I didn't know I wasn't making progress, or I didn't know about X, Y, and Z. So be open and honest, talk to your university tutor. I think, respond quickly. If there is an issue, talk to people quickly, talk to the associate teacher, be open. Follow our procedures. So if it's, it might be the RIT process. So we'll talk about that in a little bit later on. But, ensure that you have talked to the UT so that the RIT process can be started if needing. And keep evidence. I know that sounds awful, but, keep evidence of the support that's being put in place. It might be that the, email conversations have been had, if an associate teacher hasn't engaged with something, that might be needed at a later date. But I think above all, respond quickly and talk to your university tutor if you have got an AT who's struggling. We've developed these. They're quite small on the slide. You may, if you've been a mentor with us previously, you may have on your, I don't know, office wall or classroom wall, you may have a sort of an A4 piece of card that looks exactly like that. I've got one in my office on the notice board here. The school-based training mentor guidance just gives you an overview as a sort of a quick reference guide. These came from our mentor working group and our strategic partnership committee, who asked about a year ago now, in terms of could there be some form of quick reference for mentors. And so we produced that document that's on the right-hand side that does give a quick overview of what are the key points for a placement or school-based training. And then the 3 bars on the left-hand side, there's a document that, again, will be either emailed out to you, or your university tutor may well bring a printed copy to you with some QR codes that will take you to all of those areas on our partnership website, whether that be around the curriculum or the key documentation like the progress journals or the critical incident materials or the mentor training or the mentor guidance. So they will be emailed out, but your university tutor may well bring a paper copy or it's a piece of their own card. And as I say, if you've been a mentor previously, you may well have one of those already. But again, it's to support mentors in terms of easy access to the documentation, but also give a brief overview of some of the things that we've talked about in terms of school-based training. So lots of documentation that's out there to support. We've got the progress journals, the curriculum, the assessment tracker, lesson observation forms, critical incident. All of those documents are on our partnership website. So please access those if you need them. The progress journal is the document that tracks the associate teacher's progress. The associate teachers are expected to share those electronically through OneDrive. It's really important that they can access them in school. So they might need some form of internet access, or they may be that it's stored on their laptop and brought in to show you. But you'll need to monitor their developments, and everybody works together to record the key points on their progress at weekly meetings, those weekly discussions, and then they're reviewed at the review meetings and the progress meetings. Hi, Wes. The progress journal, at each weekly meeting, you need to discuss with the associate teachers their progress, the progress they're making against the curriculum. As I said earlier, they'll bring their subject-specific development journal with you. They'll talk to you about the curriculum, what they've learned. They learn that's and they learn how-tos. But Also, what progress have they made during the week? You will also have that school mentor guidance to refer back to that will be shared with you at the start of the placement. But really, the outcomes of the weekly meetings will inform the underlining of the statements at the BCU IT assessment tracker. So at the end of the progress journal, there's our assessment tracker that you will underline, and the discussions in the weekly meetings will inform that, and that underlining will then go on to inform the review meeting and the progress meeting. The associate teachers will share their curriculum. This again will be on the partnership website, so there's a document like that. Both the BA and the PG courses have produced curriculum documents that identify the learn that's and the learn how to statements. These statements, as a mentor, we want you to be aware of in terms of what as a university associate teacher, what have they learned? And that links to their subject-specific development journal. So each subject has developed learn how to statements, and they'll be shared with you through the partnership website. The tracker that I mentioned earlier, if you've been a mentor previously, you'll be aware of. This tracker is at the end of the progress journal, and we've got all of our BCU themes A to F. This one is theme D, but at the weekly meeting, in discussion with the associate teacher, you will be underlining these statements in terms of where the associate teacher is, what progress have they made, and obviously we've got working towards, working at, working beyond. In the progress journal, there'll be guidance at the review meeting and the progress meeting in terms of what or the amount of these statements that need to be underlined for an associate teacher to be on track at any given point in the course. So that will be in the progress journal for you. As I said, we've mentioned the subject-specific development journal. We ask our associate teachers to reflect on the curriculum, and every session, in terms of subjects, they're asked to reflect. And we want them to bring those journals to you in those weekly meetings to discuss where they are, so they can make links between the curriculum and the school-based training they're on in terms of what they're practicing. They've learned it at university, if you like, but they're putting it into practice in school. But it's important that they bring that so you're aware of what have they learned, because they won't have learned everything initially in terms of all of the subjects. So they'll have covered some things, not other things, but we want them to share that with you so you're clear about what they have learned and what they're yet to cover, if you like, at university. I mentioned the lesson observation pro forma. They're on the partnership website, but we've broken it down in terms of key themes, so the key themes as well, and we ask to set targets. Again, if you've been a mentor previously, you'll be used to the BCU lesson observation form, and as I say, sitting alongside that are the mentor observation prompts that all subjects have produced to support mentors. We've talked about critical incidents. At the progress meeting and the review meeting, associate teachers will prepare a critical incident, and it's an opportunity for them to reflect on something that's had an impact on their practice, and they may have done some research. So it's about, if you like, they identify something and, as it says there, describe the critical incident which developed your subject knowledge and stimulated your professional growth. Well, they'll then think about the research-informed practice. What research have they engaged with? What did they then do to, based on the research, to have an impact on a particular area? And then what impact did it have? So they've they've engaged with some research, they've changed their practice in some way, if you like, they've implemented something. What was the impact of that? And then the final blocks is about the evidence that they'll include with that. I have to say, our associate teachers over the last couple of years have really developed their understanding of critical incidents, thanks to mentors and using research to impact on their practice. Now, there's a focus for each one. So the first one is behaviour. The second one, well, there they are, I won't read them to you, but there is a focus for each critical incident. And that's, you can see that phonics or a subject or an area of self-reflection comes up. So there's some choice as well. But obviously we really do want a link to phonics as well. I mentioned rapid improvement targets. Again, if you've been a mentor previously, you'd be used to those. But it really, if an associate teacher isn't making progress, so I mean, on this slide, it talks about some of the things that might initiate rapid improvement targets being completed. So it might be that the associate teacher's not engaging. It might be that they're not making expected progress. It might be that there's some aspect of professionalism that is falling short. And so it's a supportive process, but it's rapidly put in place, if you like, so that improvements are made in a timely manner. Now, for this year, let me just, if I can go back a slide, for 2023-24, BCU tutors will initiate the rapid improvement target. But as I say, if you identify any of these things, please talk to your university tutor. It's important that, if you like, they're put in place sooner rather than later, so that, you know, interventions are there in a speedily way, I guess, so that the associate teacher can be supported. We've talked about the OneDrive folder that university tutors or associate teachers will have access to. The associate teacher will share that with you. You will have access to that. University tutors have access to it. And I think for you, it will be the shared with schools folder. So the associate teachers will be asked to share the as we call it, the shared with schools folder. They've got lots of different things in their OneDrive, but you know, you don't really need access to a lot of them. But the shared with schools folder is something that you will need. It will have their progress journal. It will have their subject specific development journal. It will have their observations, all of those things that you would want to see and use to help you to inform your decisions around their progress and have access to for completing. Okay, so we've mentioned CPD, and I'm mindful of time as we've run over a little bit, but in terms of CPD, those are the dates, and will be on the partnership website with links to access and to drop into. As we said, the first one is around giving feedback, and the second one is around smart target setting. And then I think the third, there's a drop-in, or a couple of drop-ins available for any questions and answers around that as well. So please access the CPD. But I think in terms of support, I keep saying, talk to your university tutor. Really, really important. They're the first point of contact. They'll be able to support you with anything you need. And also the partnership website. It is literally a one-stop shop of all of the documents that you might need. And as I say, after today and before our associate teachers come into school, all of the documentation will be there to support you. Okay, so apologies for running over a little bit. I'll stop the recording now. But are there any questions that I can answer? If there are, I'm happy for you to ask them, and I'll do my best